How are you, dear listeners, viewers, students Form 3 and Form 4, college students, university students, English teachers, tutorials, and lecturers? Listen the play analysis, The Lion of the Job, written by Wole Soyinka in 1963, and the setting of the play located in Nigeria after independence. My name is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, the teacher of literature in English from Tanzania, the man of literature and the young African writer. Dear listeners, I'm going to narrate this play, The Lion and the Jow. The Lion and the Jow is a play by Nigerian writer Wole Soyinka that was first performed in 1959. It chronicles how Baroka, the lion, fights with a modern Lakunde over the right to marry Sidi. The titular girl, Lakunde, is portrayed as the civilized antithesis of Baroka and unlatterly attempts to modernize his community and change its social conventions for no reason other than the fact that he can. The transcript of the play was first published in 1963 by Oxford University Press. Soyinka emphasizes the theme of the corrupted African culture through the play, as well as how the youth should embrace the original African culture. Let us look the plot summary of this play. The play is divided into 3 acts, each one related to the incidents that take place. A further analysis reveals that the story unfolds through a straightforward narration, with the play divided into morning, suggesting the events that are taking place. Here it is exposition or introduction of everything that will be developed later in the plot. Introduction of the characters, setting, and the base conflict. At noon, the events and the rising action as the conflict involving the main characters rises to the climax. Final, at night, things come to a falling of action that leads inevitably to a resolution whereby Sidi marries Baroka and the conflict ends. Furthermore, to enrich his plot, the playwright has employed a flashback plot. In pages 24 and 25, Lakunde narrates how Barokas bribed the surveyors in order to divert the railway track that was to pass through Ilunjile. Morning, this is the introduction of the play, and which sets the play in motion. The act Blake shows the beautiful slum girl named Sidi carrying a pail of water. She is strongly admired by the school teacher named Lakunde. Lakunde abandons his students the moment he casts his eyes on Sidi. He tries to educate her that it is not good to carry heavy things on the head. He also insists on the dress code of Sidi by telling her that a grown-up girl must cover her shoulders. However, Sidi objects by saying that she has already tried to her level best. By the way, she says because of what Lakunde has been saying around the village, consider him a madman of Ilunjire. Lakunde, licensed sexist, claims that Sidi is hard to understand because women have smaller brains than men, and that is the reason they call a weaker sex. Lakunde suggests that in a year Or two, they will have machines to help them do some of the works. Sid wonders whether Lacune goes mad and begins dreaming of the future. Lacune asks Sid to marry him because he loves her wholeheartedly. Sid insists that she is ready to marry him any day he can name, but Lacune must first pay the blood price in full. Sid says so because in this society it is believed that if a girl married without blood price, then she was not a virgin. Lacune educates her that paying blood price is an outdated custom because it means buying a woman as a property. He insists that a woman needs equal treatment with a man. He suggests that they will be enjoying life just as the Lagos couples are doing, and they will be spending their weekends in night clubs in Ibadan. Lacune kisses Sid by mounting, but Sid considers it unhealthy. Sid sees Lacune as a madman and wonders how they allow him to learn at school. The crowd of youth enter to bring the news of a stranger who has come with a motorcycle, with a camera, and a magazine. The magazine features Sidi's picture on the front page and makes her famous in her village and beyond. She boasts herself that she is now a celebrity and can no longer marry Lacune, a mere school teacher. They also say that Baroka's image is in a title corner in that book, and even that corner he shares with the village Latin. On hearing this, she deprices herself and sees herself as more important than even the ball. They hold a dance to celebrate the events. Meanwhile, Baroka enters and the dance stops. He accuses Lacune for trying to steal the village maidenhead and orders Lacune to be slapped. This was a mechanism to make him stay away from Sid. Finally, he said, it has been 5 full months since he last took a wife. Noon. The act breaks with Sid still engrossed in the picture of herself in the magazine. Sadiq meets her to bring the news that Baroka has sent her, not only to give Sid his well wishes, but also to deliver the message that he wants her for a wife. Lacune overhears the message and reacts by calling Baroka a great dog and infidel. He asks Sid to reject the proposal. Sadiq wants to know what answer to give the bar and convince Sid that Baroka has promised to take no other wife after her. Furthermore, Sadiq says that when a woman becomes the last wife of the Baal, when the Baal dies, she gets the honor of becoming a senior wife of the new Baal. Sid says she is now famous and cannot marry Baroka since he waited until she becomes a celebrity. He sees Baroka's proposal as a way he wants to brag about himself and says that he has possessed the jewel for Njige. Sadiq wonders how in the world a girl can turn down the chief's proposal to marry her. She thinks that all that was because of Lacune. Sidi insists that she is still young and beautiful to marry an old man like Baroka, who is spent. Sadiq changes the tactic and says that Baroka said if she does not want to be his wife, she can just go to supper with him, as he has prepared a small feast in her honor. Sid knows that it is Baroka's trick to get to bed with her, since all women who have supped with him one night ended up become either his wife or his concubines. Lakuna narrated how Baroka's food with public works attempt to build a railway through Ilunjire. Baroka bribed the white surveyor by giving him man, coronets, a coop of hens, and a goat. The surveyor pretends that he had made a mistake in reading his map, so the railway should be much farther away. He also says that the soil cannot support the weight of a railway engine. Lakunle suggests that Baroka does all this because he does not want civilization to come to Ilunjile, since it will interfere his traditional life. The scene shows Baroka in his bedroom with his favorite wife planking his emptying hair. Unfortunately, she plucks him, painful, and he chases her away. At the same time, Sadiq enters bringing the sad news of refusal from Sidi. Baroka comes angry at hearing that, but he devises an idea. He makes a trick by telling Sadiq that his manhood has ended for almost a week, while he warns Sadiq not to tell anyone. In his heart, he knows she will tell it to Sidi, and that is exactly what happens. At night, Sadiq rejoices because of the long information he got from Baroka. She thinks that Baroka is really impotent. She comes with the figure of the barre and addresses it. Sadiq says she did the same of Baroka's father, the great Okiki. When she became his youngest wife, Sadiq celebrates their victory, and Sidi wonders what bubble she has won. Sadiq insists that it is a victory to every woman. She then tells Sidi what the celebration is all about. They both celebrate the victory of womankind. Lakunle appears and tries to make sense of what is going on. Sid gets an idea that she should go to the palace and sup with the Baal so that she can get an opportunity to mock him. Lakune warns her not to go, but she ignores him and goes. Lakune quarrels with Sadiq, who reminds him to paying the bride price for Sid. Lakune suggests a transformation that should be done of the village in a year or two. For example, abolition of blood price, construction of motor roads, use saucepans instead of clay pots, no polygamy since it leads to impotence, cars of rulers, cut trees, and the burn of the forest to plant a modern park for lovers, print newspapers every day, hold beauty contests, a school of ballroom dancing, and reject the palm wine habit and take tea with milk and the sugar instead. He insists that even Sadiq should start attending his school since she is old but uninformed, as she does not know how to read and write. The scene changes to Baroka's bedroom. Baroka is having a friendly wrestling with his opponent. Sid enters in the middle of the wrestling. She pretends that she has come to repent for what she said. Then Sid begins to mock Baroka in riddles. Baroka says that he changes his letters when he learns through them, and he changes his wife when he has learned to tie them. As Sid continues mocking him, he discovers that she has been told by Sadiq the secret. Then Baroka says that the town dwellers has made tale of the backwardness of Ilunjire until it hurts him, since he holds the welfare of his people deep at heart. Baroka keeps on seducing Sidi using the sayings and proverbs, like the truth is that old wine thrives best within a new bottle. Finally, Sidi falls under Baroka's control. Lakune and Sadiko are waiting for Sid to return. Lakune senses that something bad has happened to her. He promises to go and rescue. Sid comes in the slow hustle in the ground crying. Lakune thinks that she has been beaten. Sid tells Sadiko that Barokas lied to her and that it was a trick to get her. Lakune later learns that Sid has slept with Baroka, but he promises to marry her nevertheless. Sid exists, and Lakune and Sadiq wonder what has become of her. Lakune thinks she has gone to prepare the marriage, but she says he also needs time to prepare. The musicians come, but Lakune chases them away, thinking they came to celebrate his marriage. Sid appears and accompanies the musicians to Baroka's houses, inviting Lakune to attend if he wishes. She says that she cannot go to another man after tasting the strength of Baroka. Let us look at the title of the book. The Lions of Joy is a symbolic title of a comedy drama that represents the conflict that exists between Africans who are influenced by Western ways and those who are loyal to African traditions. The lion represents Baroka, the chief Baal in his 60s, who hunts the village belle, beautiful girl named Sidi. The word the lion is used because of Baroka's behavior of hunting the joy, by using every possible means, even oppressing his competitors. Lakunde, the teacher, is the lion does in the forest as the king of the jungle. The joy represents the beautiful and true village belle. Sid become a joy of Injil, especially when the photographer puts her picture on the front page of the magazine and makes her known throughout the village and beyond. Sidi's words in page 23 sums up the meaning of the title. I'm the twink of a jewel, but the hands quarters of a lion. Let us look at the setting of the play. The setting of the play is Yoruba, village of Ilunjire in Nigeria. However, it can generally be applied to any African community that practice this traditional practice. There are some minor settings like the classroom, Baroka's bedroom, school compound, Ilunjire village. Style. The playwright has employed different literary techniques to keep the play in motion. The following are some of the techniques employed. Number 1. Dialogue. The play is largely written in dialogue that reveals the character's personality traits, moods, and reaction towards other characters. Number 2. Aside. This is the direct address to the audience by a character on stage. The playwright employs this style when he says, Sidi, if Baroka were my father, which many would take him to be, make a lute sign. Would he pass my drawing to this man and give his blessings? Page 43. This message is intended for the audience and not other on the stage. Number 3. Songs, music and drums, here and there. He has made use of tradition, songs, music and dance to bring the events of life. In page 45 up 46, Sid, Lakune and the girls who bring the news about the stranger In the magazine joins the dance of celebrate the events. Everything comes to sudden stop when Baroka arrives. Number 4. Poetic language. The play is largely written in poetic style. There are short verses that begin with a capital letter, even when it is still the continuation of the same sentence, a typical feature in poetry. But there are more specific lines that are written indistinctively as poems. For example, in page 14, she talking to Lacune, she says, "You are dressed like him, you look like him, you speak his tongue, you sing like him, you are just as clumsy in your Lagos ways you will do for him." Let us look characters and characterization. The first character, Baroka. He is an old village chief, bald, aged 62. He inherited the chiefdom from his late father, Chief Okiki. He is infidelity and a womanizer. He marries many women just to satisfy his sexual desire. Sidi confirms his when she says, "Can you then that every woman who has supped with him one night becomes his wife or concubine the next?" This is shown page 23. His trick. He uses trick to get women. He invites them for supper at the palace and ends up sleeping with them. When Sid discovers his trick, he changes it by saying he's no longer sexually powerful and his trick works. He's a polygamist. He has many wives, but he's not satisfied. He hunts for Sid till he manages to add her to their number. He's a corrupt and irresponsible leader. He bribes the surveyor who was built a railway track through his village to stop and divert the project. He's supposed to be the one attracting this project to this village for his people. He's illiterate and primitive. This can be proved by the following scenarios. He does not know the importance of civilization. He works hard to prevent it. He does not even know how to say good morning. He says good morning. He uses his wife to pluck the hairs of his armpit instead of shaving. He is a hypocrite. He ordered his attendant to beat Lacune, but later he pretends to show sympathy to him and orders dry to courses for him. This is on page 17. His jealous. The third girl says that the bar is jealous of Sid when her photo appears on the front page, but he pretends to be proud of Sid. He's traditionalist. He holds African traditions, whether good or bad, and works hard to prevent Western ways. He supports widow inheritance as he helped his father's youngest wife, Sidi. He is oppressive. He oppresses Lacune as a way to make him stay away from Sidi by changing him forcefully, that he tried to steal the village might head. He is selfish and opportunist. He only cares about selfish interest and not that of his village. He, for instance, diverts the railway project from his village because it will force civilization to his village and interfere his traditional life. Also, he does all it takes to marry Sid, despite the fact that he had many wives already. Another character, Sidi. She's a slim, beautiful girl, the belle. Sid becomes aware of her beauty. When the photograph features her on the magazine, she brags, "I'm beautiful." This is on page 13. She's boastful and pompous. Sid boasts when her fame grows beyond the village of Njige. She even rejects Lacune since she's now a celebrity. She says, "Now as I'm to the whole wide world. I would dreamed my was to wait a mere school teacher. Also, she adds it to more importance even than the ballet. This on page 12. She became a local celebrity. Sidi became a local celebrity after appearing on the magazine. This is one reason why Barokas want to take her for a wife. She's traditionalist and primitive. Sidi is a young girl, but she still observes traditional custom. She insists that Lakune must pay her bride price before she marries him. Also, she follows the traditional culture that when a virgin girl sleeps with a man, she has to marry that man. That is why she marries Baroka despite all the legislation she had made it face that he's too old and spent. She has a stand. She has a firm stand on what she believes. She refuses to marry Lakunde until he pays the bride price, despite all the efforts made by Lakunde to educate her. She rejects Baroka's proposal for marriage, despite the fact that he's a chief Baroka, because he says he's too old until he used a trick to get her. She's abusive. Sidi uses abusive language even now. And then when she addresses Lakune, for example, she tells him the village on holiday you fall, this on page 14. But also she calls him the madman of Ilunjile. She loves hearsays. When Lakune narrates the story, how Baroka diverged the Larry project, Sadiq says it was just hearsay. Sidi admits that Lakune should continue narrating since she loves hearsays, page 24. She finally became Baroka's wife. Sidi finally became Baroka's wife because he used a trick to sleep with her, and according to the tradition girl, has to marry the man who sleeps with her for the first time. Another character, Lakunde. He's an educated school teacher. Lakunde is a teacher who learns the school at Ilunjile. He's an irresponsible teacher. Lakunde is an irresponsible teacher because he allows his love affair to interfere his commitment to work. He abandoned his student and chased after Sid. He's an agent for social change. Lakune proposed transformation that has to be done to build a better future in his village. For example, abolition of blood price, construction of mortar load, use saucepans instead of clay pots, no pot gun, since it leads to impotence, cars for rulers. This will help Ilunjile to be a modern village. He's westernized. Lakune is obsessed with European or Western culture. Some of the things he suggests to be part of the transformation are completely European, and that is the reason the Africans don't understand him. But they end up calling him mad. For example, cutting down trees and burning forests to plant a garden for lovers, having beauty contests, a school for ballroom dancing. He is a feminist. He's a person who fights for women's rights and gender equality. Lakun tried his level best to educate Sid about her rights and the dignity of a woman. He says that blood price degrades a woman to level of the property. He is against the custom of paying bride price. Lakune fights against the paying of bride price since he believes it lowers the dignity of a woman for whom it is paid. However, the traditional society does not understand him because in this society, bride price is a sign of virginity to a girl for whom it is paid. He has true love, despite the fact that he discovers that Sidi has slept with Baroka. He still promises to marry her. He suggests that they will have to forget the past. Another character, Sadiq. She's Baroka's eldest wife. He hated from his late father Okiki. In this society, when the chief dies, his last wife becomes the senior wife of the new king. So did Sadiq. She acts as a go-between for Baroka. Sadiku is rather a stranger woman because she's the one who keeps seducing girls for Baroka. Lakuna laments, you spent your days as senior wife collecting bride for Baroka. This is on page 38. She's traditionalist and primitive. Sadiq is still primitive and for the traditional custom, even those that seem to undermine the woman's dignity, like polygamy and bride price. She too insists that Lakun has to pay the bride price for Sid if he wishes to marry her. She is a betrayer, as it does not keep secrets. Baroka uses a trick to get Sid by telling Sadiq that his manhood has ended for almost a week before. He warns Sadiq not to tell anyone, but in his heart he knows that Sadiq won't keep that secret to herself, but she will tell it to Sid, and that is exactly what happens. She is a hypocrite. She pretends to sympathize when Baroka says he has lost his manhood, but later she goes to celebrate for the same. Let us look language use or figures of speech. The playwright has used a good and profound command of the English language, full of figures of speech and sayings that gives the flavor of African literature. Number one, personification. Example, I thought the word was mad. This is on page 28. Another personification. My empty still weeps blood. Shown page 39. Another personification. My bed tell me you have been a pupil. Since shown page 47. Another personification. Sid, my love, will open your mind. Page 6. Another personification. Can the stones bear to listen to this? Page 6. Another personification. The village is on holiday. You fool. This is shown page 14. Another personification. And my images have taught me all the rest. Shown page 21. Another personification. Our thoughts fly, fly through the air. This is shown page 53. Another personification. It is on the hair upon his back which still deceives the world. Page 54. Another personification. The words refuse to form. Page 59. Another personification. S open up and swallow Lakune. Page 60. Another figure of speech. Simile. Example of simile. Like a snake, he came at me. Like a lag, he went back. This is on page 32. Another simile. Must every work leak out of you as sure as the final drops of mother's milk? Page 35. Another simile. Sucking like a slighted crocodile. Page 39. Another simile. But you are as stubborn as an illiterate goat. Page 2. Another simile. And you must chill up like a cockatoo. Page 7. Another figure of speech. And her hair is stretched like a magazine photo. Page 9. Another simile. The thought itself would knock you down as sure as wine. Page 13. Another simile. He seeks to have me as his property. Page 21. Another simile. His face is like a lizard piece. Page 22. Another simile. I will come and see you whipped like a dog. Page 55. Another simile. She took off suddenly like a hunted buck. Page 61. Another figures of speech. Number 3. Metaphor. Sidi, my faithful lizard. Page 47. Another example of metaphor. Sidi will not make herself a cheap bowl for the village spit. Page 7. Another metaphor. Romance is the sweetening of the soul. Page 10. Another metaphor. You had be my chattel, my mare property. Page 8. Another simile, the jewel of Ilunjile. Page 21. Another metaphor. I'm the twinkle of a jewel, while he is the hind quarters of a lion. Page 23. Another metaphor. His parasite. You have made a big mistake. Page 62. Another metaphor. Baroka is the creature of the woods. Page 58. Another figures of speech. Number 4. Sayings. Example. If the snail finds splitters in his shell, he changes house. Why do you stay? Page 6. Another saying. Shame belongs on to the ignorant. Page 5. Another saying. The woman gets lost in the woods one day, and every wood date dies the next. Page 42. Another saying. If the tortoise cannot tumble, it does not mean that he can stand. Page 42. Another saying. When the child is full of riddles, the mother has one water pot the less. Page 42. Another saying. Child, begin at home. Page 52. Another saying. A man must live or fall by his true principles. Page 61. Another saying. Until the finger nails have scraped the dust, no one can tell which insect realized his bows. Page 43. Another says, old wine sleeps within a new bottle. Page 54. Another figure of speech. Number 5. Symbolism. Example. Lion represents the king, the Baroka. Another symbolism. Jewel represents the beautiful girl, the belle Sidi. Another symbolism. Tongue represents the dick of the tongue. Page 20. Another symbolism. Sadiku's unopened treasure. House virginity. Page 32. Okiki came with his lasted key, an old male sexual organ. Page 32. Devil's own house represents motorbike. One eye box represents camera. Baroka's picture next to the village latrine represents his collapse and the fifth. Another figures of speech. Number 6. Oxymoron. Example. Inside out. Page 5. Upside down. Page 5. Another figure of speech. Number 7. Hyperbole. Example. when the whole world knows the madman of Kaligo Njige. This is shown page number 3. Example, you really mean to turn the whole world upside down? This is shown page 5. Another figure of speech, number 8, allusion. Example, a prophet has honor except in his own home. Page 5, referring to the biblical words of Jesus. Another allusion, and the man shall take the woman, and the two shall be together as one flesh. Page 8, referring to the word in the Bible. Another allusion, my Rose, my Rahel, Esther, Bathsheba, though some of fabled perfections from Genesis of Revelations, page 20, biblical names. Another figures of speech. Number 9, parallelism. Example, a savage custom, barbaric, outdated, rejected, denounced, accused, excommunicated, unspeakable, archaic, degrading, humiliating, redundant, retrogressive, remarkable, unpalatable. Page 7. Another parallelism, Sidi, I do not seek a wife to fetch and carry, to cook and scrub, to bring forth children. Page 7 up 8. Another figures of speech, rhetorical question. Example, do any of my wives report a falling in my manliness? Another figures of speech. Number 11, onomatopoeia, brrr, sound of motorcycle. Page 10, ha ha ha, sound of laughter. Page 20. Let us look semantic analysis. The first themes, or the main themes in this play, the language, African tradition and the customs. These main themes, African tradition and customs, has minor themes. Number 1, polygamy. This is the traditional practice in which a man marries many wives. In most African societies, this practice is very common. In the book Polygamy, portrayed in the following scenarios. Chief Okiki, Baroka's father, had many wives, including Sadiku, who was the youngest of the wives. Baroka has many wives and concubines, but he is not satisfied. Sidi says, can you deign that every woman who has supped with him one night become his wife or concubine? The next page, 23. He is now 62 years old, but he married Sidi. Another African tradition and custom, widow inheritance. This is a traditional practice in which man inherits the wife or wives of a late relative, a brother or father. In this society, it is possible for the son to inherit the youngest wife of his late father. For example, Sadiq was the youngest wife of the chief Okiki, Baroka's father, but she was hated the Baroka and became the senior wife of Baroka after the death of Okiki. Sadiq says, I was there when it happened to your father, the great Okiki. I did for him. I, the youngest of and the freshest of the wives, I killed him with my friends. Page 32. Furthermore, Sadiq convinced Sidi to marry Baroka, since she would enjoy the privilege of being the youngest and the favorite wife of Baroka. But since Baroka is too old when he died, she would become the senior wife of the new Baal chief. Sadiq says, do you know what it is to be the Baal's last wife. I will tell you, when he dies, and that should not be long, even the lad has to die. Sometimes it means that you will have the honor of being the senior wife of the new Baal. Page 20. Another African tradition, the custom, blood price. Blood price is also a tradition, and that is in many African societies. However, there are different wives attached to blood price in different societies. While in other societies, it is used as a symbol of the commitment and the seriousness towards marriage. In this society, it is connected to virginity of a girl. If a girl is married without the blood price, it is believed that she was not a virgin, and she did so to save her shame. This is the reason why Sidi insists that her blood price must be paid in full before she agreed to marry Lakunde. She says, I shall marry you today, next week, or any day you name, but my blood price must first be paid. Also, she added, they will say I was no virgin, that I was forced to sell my shame and marry you without a price paid. This causes complications in marriage question, especially among the youngest, who believe in mutual love between the two and not the dowry payment. Another African tradition and custom, traditional beliefs. There are also different cases of traditional beliefs in this society. Swearing to confirm whether someone is telling the truth, that person has to swear by the name of their god, Ogun. Sidi forces the second girl to swear and ask Ogun strike her in bed if she's not telling the truth that Baroka's picture is sharing a page with the village latrine in the magazine. They also believe that some traditional gods can take possession of someone and the Sango can restore his or her wits. Sadiq says, Sidi, may Sango restore you wits for more surely. Some angry god has taken possession of you. Page 23. Another African tradition, the custom. Traditional dance. Villagers beat drums and hold dances when there are happy events to celebrate. For example, the dance held celebrating the return of the stranger with a magazine. Also, when Sidi marries Baroka, a dance is held and the people celebrate the marriage ceremony. Another, the second theme, feminism and the women emancipation. Feminism is an ideology of fighting for the right of women. Lakuni in this play acted as a feminist as he tried to educate Sidi of her value as a woman. He educated her that paying the blood price for women degraded her dignity and lowered her value to the level of property. He says to pay the blood price would be to buy herself of the market share. You would be my child, my mere property. Page 8. He fight against polygamy and advocate for monogamy. He wants to marry Sidi as his own wife. And among the transformation he wishes to see in the future, he says, no man shall take more wives than one. Page 37. He believes that a woman should be an equal partner of a man in a race of life. Talking of Sidi, he says, Sidi, I seek a friend in need, an equal partner in my race of life. Page 8. Sadiq also seems to aspire of the world in which women win the men lose. When she is tricked by Baroka about his state of impotence, she celebrates the victory of women over men. She says, this is the word of men. At this moment, our star sits in the center of the sky. We are supreme. Page 34. The presence of primitive village and the political powerful and the corrupt people like Baroka makes the movement too complicated and successful, since they use the political power to suppress the supposed changes. Another themes. Number 3, irresponsibility. Irresponsibility is shown in 2 ways. 1, Lakune is an irresponsible teacher because he allows his love affair and affection towards Sidi to interfere. His commitment to work. He abandons. He's a student and goes to seduce Sidi for marriage. Another irresponsible, Baroka, is an irresponsible leader. He's a corrupt and irresponsible leader because he bribes the surveyor who was to build a railway track through the village to stop and divert the project. He is supposed to be the one attracting this project to this village for his people. Lakune said, did you never hear of how he faulted the public works attempt to build the railway through Ilunchile? Page 24. Another theme, building for future. Number 4, building the future. The playwright used Lakune as his mouthpiece to communicate the themes of building the future. Being an educated man, whoever Baroka admits that he is needed in the society, has due to guide this traditional society to progress. Lakune is educated and westernized, so some things he suggests reflect his Western mentality. He says, for example, blood price should be forgotten, polygamy should be abolished, construction of motor roads, replacing clay pots with subspines, the rulers should be cars or at least bicycles instead of houses. Cut trees and burn the forest to plant in the garden park for lovers, print newspaper daily with a picture of seduced girls, conducting the beauty contest and have a school for ballroom dancing. Lakune has pointed but the mission failed because of 4 major reasons among other things. Number 1, some of the things he suggests are irrelevant to Africa and are not indicators of development. So he uses a long approach when he suggests things like having a school for ballroom dancing, cut trees and burn the forest to plant a garden park for lovers, print a newspaper daily with pictures of seduced girls conducting the beauty contest. Number 2, he wants the changes to take place overnight. Lakune is so quick, not realizing that changes usually take time. Villagers must be given enough time to adjust themselves to the news culture. He's trying to introduce, he's saying, within a year or 2, this is too short a time for the transformation he suggests. Number 3, the presence of corrupt and selfish leader like Baroka and ignorant, primitive villagers like Sidi and Sidi become obstacles to build the future. Lakune has intellectual power, but lack political power to act on what he believes. Baroka uses his political power to block the development project. Number 4, Lakune's selfish interest to marry Sidi. Lakune became committed more to his competition for Sidi against Baroka and forget his role as educated elite to educate the pupils in his school who would later be instrumental in helping him to win his cause. Finally, Lakune failed to build the ideal future he aspired and ended up heartbroken to losing Sidi altogether. Another theme, number 5, betrayal. Betrayal is portrayed in different scenarios. Number 1, Lakune has betrayed his culture by adapting and conforming the Western culture. He even forces his own people to abandon their culture and adopt the European culture. He suggests, for example, having school for ballroom dancing, wearing high-heeled shoes and red paints on the lips, going to nightclubs at Ibadan and kissing my mouth, which Sidi considers unhealthy. Page 9. This, among other things, makes the villagers consider him a madman of Ilunchile. Number 2, Sadiq betrayed Baroka by revealing his secret, despite being warned that she's the only one who knows about it. Number 3. Baroka betrays his people by diverting the development project away from his village, instead attracting those projects to his village. Number 4. Sidi betrayed Lakune when she refused to marry him. First, when she became a celebrity, she says she is now famous that she cannot marry a mere school teacher. And finally, when she sleeps with Baroka and leaves Barakune, notwithstanding with the willingness to marry her, ignoring what had happened. Another theme, number 6, misuse of power. Many African leaders misuse the power entrusted to them for their own selfish interests. Baroka used his power to win love from Sidi. First, he orders his men to beat Lakune and accuse him falsely that he tried to instill the village might-head. Baroka uses his power and position to marry as many wives as he wishes. He says, "It is 5 full months since last I took a 5 page." From that time, he started hunting Sidi by using invitation for supper and a trick, but it is revealed that whenever a woman accepts his invitation for supper, he ends up becoming either his wife or concubine. This is misuse of power and authority. Baroka uses his power to humiliate his wives. He uses Sidi to seduce brides for him. He also humiliated his youngest wife, Ailatu, by ordering her to pluck his armpit hair. Unfortunately, she pulls the hair, painful, and Baroka expelled her from the house. This is also the misuse of power. Another minor themes include illiteracy. Many members of this society are illiterate. This gives a chance for leaders like Baroka to exploit them using their ignorance. Another minor theme, corruption. Both Baroka and the surveyor are corrupt. Baroka bribes the surveyor to divert the railway project, and the surveyor accepts the bribe. He then pretends that he had made a mistake in leading his map, so the railway track should be further away. Also, he had claimed that the sword cannot support the weight of railway engine. Another minor themes, selfishness. Both Baroka and Lakune put first their interest instead of those of the society. Baroka diverted the project of his own selfishness interest. He also married many wives for the same reason. Lakune, on the other hand, abandoned his pupils because of his personal interest to marry Sidi. Another minor theme, hypocrisy. Sidi was a hypocrite. She pretended to sympathize with Baroka on hearing that he has lost his manhood, but later she celebrates Baroka's pretend to love his people, but he diverted development projects that would help his people. Another minor theme, infidelity and promiscuity. Baroka is infidel, womanized, and sex-manic, as he marries many wives to satisfy his sexual desire. Sidi confirms this when he says, "Can you then that every woman who has supped with him one night becomes his wife or concubine?" The next page, 23. Another themes, or minor themes, awareness. Example, Sidi. He's aware with her culture. Let us look the role and position of women in this play. In this play, women portrayed as a tool for pleasure. Women are used by men to satisfy their sexual pleasure in a way. Baroka's father made many wives for the same reason. Baroka has many wives and concubines, but is not satisfied, as he wants to marry Sidi for the same. Lakune wonder how Baroka managed to satisfy them all, and says they maybe keeps a timetable, as he does it at school. In her own words, Sadi convinced Sidi to marry Baroka on the grounds that will you be his sweetest presence, soothing him on weary nights. Also, women portrayed as people who cannot keep secret. A woman is portrayed as a person who cannot keep secret. Knowing this, Baroka uses a trick by telling Sadiku that his manhood has ended for almost a week before he believes that Sadiku won't keep it to herself but will leak the information to Sidi, and that is exactly what happens. Women portrayed as betrayers. Sadiku betrayed Baroka by revealing the secret she was told to keep to herself. Baroka warned her not to parade her shame before the world. Page 30. Notwithstanding the warning, she tells the secret to Sidi and admits her betrayal by saying Baroka is no child. You know, he will know I have betrayed him. Page 35. Women portrayed as the hypocrite. Both Sadiq and Sid are hypocrite. Sadiq pretends to sympathize with Baroka when she learns that he has lost his manhood, and they exclaim, the gods forbid, the gods must have mercy. However, the same woman goes to celebrate the victory of women over men and asks Sid to go and pretend to be repentant and mocks the old man. She says, use your bashful looks and be true, repentant. Goad him, my child, torment him until he weeps for shame. This is on page 35. Women portrayed as the primitive and the illiterate, despite the fact that blood price is a custom and undermine women's dignity and rob them the opportunity to marry men of their choice. Sadiq and Sidi still support it strongly. Moreover, women are seen as primitive when Sadiq is used by Baroka to seduce girls for him, even those she addressed as my child. Women portrayed as traditionalists. Not only do women believe in some outdated traditions, like blood price, but they are also comfortable living in a polygamous family and being hated as a widow from one chief to another. Sadiq confessed to marry Baroka since being the last wife. When Baroka dies, she will have the privilege of being hated by the new Baal. They also support the custom, and a girl must marry a man who sleeps with her for first time, even if it was not unwilling as did Baroka. Women portrayed as people with no true love. Both Sadiq and Sidi are portrayed as people with no true love in different levels. Sidi has no sincere love to Lakunde. Despite all the love and the affection that Lakunde tried to show her, she still plays importance of the blood price and not only mutual love. Sadiq has no sincere love to Baroka. That is why she feels to seduce girls for him. Furthermore, when she hears the tragedy that has befallen her husband, she celebrates instead of mourning with him. Women portrayed as people with no stand. Baroka believes that it is just a pattern for women to refuse the men's proposal at first, but later they agree. So he believes that Sidi's refusal is just following the same pattern, and that is exactly what happens. Baroka says it follows the pattern. A firm refusal at the first. Why will she not? Page 27. Finally, Sidi goes to Baroka's bedroom to live with him and finally marries him, despite all the bad things she had spoken about him. Let us look the conflict revealed in this play, The Land of Yao. There are different conflicts in this book. Number one, cultural conflict between European culture and African culture. Western culture is portrayed by Lakunde, who suggests the transformation he wished to see the society to make it a modern village. These things bring a conflict because they contradict African culture. As a result, they see him as a madman. Issues like abolition of blood price, polygamy, kissing by mounting cause the conflict in this society. Number two, personal conflict. This is a conflict involving two individuals. The conflict between Sidi and Lakunde. This occurs when he tries to educate her on the uselessness of some traditional practice, like payment blood price. For Sidi, blood price is very important since it carries a sense of respect, signifies that a girl is virgin. Furthermore, their conflict intensifies when Lakune forces Sidi to take him by mouthing, which she considers unhygienic or unhealthy. The conflict between Baroka and Lakunde. This occurs because they are compression of Sidi. Both Baroka and Lakunde are in love with Sidi, but Baroka uses his political power to oppress Lakunde and win love from Sidi, and Lakunde becomes the loser. Also, Baroka sees that the society is better without some of the things that Lakunde suggests, while Lakunde sees Baroka as an obstacle to Njig's development. The conflict between Sadiq and Lakunde. This occurs when Lakunde accuses Sadiq for seducing blood for Baroka. He sees her as primitive woman and suggests that she too must attend his school. Sadiq also accused Lakunde that Sidi's rejection of the Bare's proposal is a direct consequence of his teaching. Number three, social conflict between old generation and the young generation. There is a conflict between the young being represented by Sidi and Lakunde against the old being represented by Baroka and Sadiq. The youngest have their own ways of looking at things. Sidi refused to marry Baroka because he's too old and she's young. Lakunde also accused Sadiq for convincing Sidi to marry an old man like Baroka. Number four, family conflict between Baroka and his wife Ailatu, the favorite. This occurred due to the Baroka's primitive behavior of using his wife to pluck his armpit hair. Unfortunately, Ailatu pulls the hair, painful, and makes Baroka go mad. He believes that she did it purposefully as a kind of revenge, for he took her that he was to take a new wife that evening and chased her away from the room, calling her an enemy. Let us look at the message found in this play, The Lion and the Girl. There are several lessons that can be learned from this play. Number one, corrupt, selfish, and irresponsible leaders like Baroka are obstacles to development. It is very hard for any society to develop if there are leaders like Baroka, who instead of attracting development projects, he diverts them away from his village. Number two, ignorance and the illiteracy of the masses also become obstacles to development. The common people also become obstacles to the effort of the future because they don't see the need to change the outdated custom. Number three, outdated custom like polygamy, widow hatred, and the blood price should be discouraged. These are the main causes of conflict in our society. Number four, bringing about changes is a gradual process. It cannot occur overnight. People must be given time to adjust and learn the new culture, rather than forcing them to abandon their culture in favor of the foreign one. Number five, we should fight against betrayal, hypocrisy, and humiliation. Number six, educated people should use their education to bring about social changes in society. It is good to separate love affair from our committed to jobs and responsibilities. Let us look at the last part, which is the relevance of the play. The play is relevant to our society, especially Tanzania. rural communities in the number of ways. Number one, polygamy. Blood plight, infidelity, and widow inheritance are common practices in rural communities in Tanzania and Africa at large. Number two, betrayal, responsibility, corruption, misuse of power, and selfishness are also common phenomena among the leaders and the common people in our country. Number three, women and emancipation and feminism are now common slogans. Feminists are now campaigning for women's rights and equality, advocating for 50-50 chances for both men and women. That is the end of the play analysis, The Lion and the Jig, which is written by Wole Soyinka in 1963. Thank you for listening. My name is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, the teacher of literature in English. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment below this video. Thank you.